everybody. We're talking to Charlotte, and now you can hear her. Can you hear her now?
Hello? Can you hear me, people? I'm here.
Yeah, it's working. Hey, I think I need some feedback on my radio.
Shall I explain the topic again?
Yes, please. Okay. That'd be marvellous.
So the topic is called Receiving Feedback, Friend or Foe? ?
Yes.
And so what we're talking about is the kind of feedback that's not, pat on the back, you did a good job, but it's that feedback that often gets interpreted as negative.
Like constructive.
Or critical. It's called constructive in the HR world, I believe.
Yes.
So it's the kind of feedback when someone says, hey, what you did was good, but this is what you could do better, right? And I was interested to have a chat with you about it because I know that you're of the performing kind, right?
I am indeed.
Yeah, so I wanted to check, with you, when you get that kind of feedback, when, there might be a review or it might be someone directly coming up to you and saying, really liked what you did, but this could be much better. How do you take that normally?
I think it depends whether it's solicited or not, and whether the feedback is... It depends what I was trying to do. Like if you're like, okay, I'm going to try to do something really experimental, and I want to see what could come out of it, and then someone comes and gives you feedback and says, you know what, I think you should wear different colour shirts.
Right.
You go, you know what, maybe you weren't. Maybe they weren't privy to what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you're in the right mood to receive certain feedback, and other times you're just like, I just want to know if you had a good time.
Exactly.
So, what were your...
Yeah. Well, I think because performance is one example, isn't it? And I guess it's what you mentioned there, which I think is also important, is our ability to be able to take on feedback or not take it on. Mm-hmm. So I guess the thing that I see, which I think is a bit of a shame, is if we think about, from the expertise literature, people that become masters in their field and experts and people that are considered experts in what they do, they have very specific ways of eliciting feedback from people, and it's eliciting it in a way that they actually get feedback that they can use to improve, which would make sense that it would then be, on the constructive side, that it's not just about eliciting feedback that's going to stroke your ego, that's going to tell you
how good I was.
Exactly. And you must have been to some trainings, and I know I've been to plenty of them, where the feedback forms are all designed so you can just tell people what you liked.
Yeah.
And there's a tiny little bit that's to say, could it be improved, yes or no? And you
just say yes.
Yes. But nothing to elaborate on that.
I suppose that depends what they're trying to get the feedback for as well. Are they just trying to get more funding and get some sweet sound bites, or are they actually interested in developing what they're giving? That's
right. And restaurants are a classic example as well. How often we get asked in a cafe, did you enjoy your meal? Was your meal okay? And we might not think that it was, but 9 times out of 10 we're not going to say anything. No. Especially in Britain, but in New Zealand as well, because we're worried about offending somebody.
Well, and that's partly because you are face to face with the wait staff, that you don't want to say, well, actually, this is rubbish.
The steak was overdone, and
And that's probably more about being able to give feedback in a constructive way, not only just receiving it.
Yeah, but why I bring that up is because I think what I believe we need in society is in general, and for anyone really just interested in getting feedback for the purpose of improving themselves, no matter what that is, whether you're a performer, whether you're on a radio station, whether you're a waitress or a chef or whatever, or just because you go to work every day and your job's important to you, is actually reframing feedback as being friend, not foe, and to be able to do what I know that they teach, a classic thing they teach in improv is to separate yourself from the work, right?
Yes.
So what I've found with a lot of people, and I know it's been true of myself, is when you get that feedback that we're calling constructive, is it can just be a blow to your self-esteem. People take it very personally. They think it means they're not good enough, that they haven't done a good job, that they don't know what they're doing. They should have known better, It's like they might get feedback and think, why didn't I think of that?
Well, the other thing is that those things may be true. Maybe you didn't do a very good job. That doesn't mean you're a bad person.
Exactly. So separating what you do from who you are, which are two very distinct things. And in my experience, it's not easy for people to do that.
No.
But it's worth starting with the concept of that, it's about the work. It's not about you.
Yes.
And what I did last year, which was really good for me, and maybe relevant to people that are listening as well, is I did a series of courses, and they were evening courses, and they all had a different topic.
Yeah.
And I did them for free. And in exchange for them being free, I made sure I said at the beginning, I'd like you to give me detailed feedback. I'd like you to tell me about what you liked. And more importantly, I'd like you to tell me about what you think could be better.
Yes.
And I got some really, really useful feedback. And what it did for me was it just reframed the whole idea of what it means to get feedback. And then I started thinking, well, I can't do that if I'm going to get paid for a job, because you're getting paid for something, so how can you ask for feedback?
Yeah.
But actually I do that now, and it's just as effective. So it means that I'm always just seeking to improve, and I don't have to expect myself to be perfect all the time, and I can get somewhere with it. I can actually get feedback that I can use. So it's quite a different way of thinking about it.
And do you get that feedback in writing or verbally?
In writing.
Is it always in writing?
So it's always anonymous, which I think really helps,
Yes.
But so many places could do that easily, and differently, but I think people are just scared of it. And I think it needs to be embraced.
Well, there's been some really interesting suddenly that feedback thing reminds me of the whole Twitter thing where companies go on Twitter and they have an online presence, and it makes it really easy for someone to give you feedback and then for that feedback to spread.
Yes.
And then about how they deal with that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just made me think of something a little bit more broader than just one-on-one feedback.
Yeah.
But it is really interesting, and the fact that people feel they have the ability to give feedback in that manner, publicly.
And I think that's what the internet can do, It's like there's been, with Facebook pages as well, as the way that I got taught to use a Facebook page as a business is to be using it as client feedback and then responding to your customers online in a way that's really great, that you welcome that feedback, that you show them that you've listened. And you can incorporate that and do good for your customers. And you're right, Twitter's another way of doing it. And it's about how companies then respond to that critical feedback that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Because it's not like there's no company or any business in the world that won't get a piece of constructive feedback at some point.
Or won't get something wrong at some point.
Exactly.
And need to get feedback.
Exactly. So instead of seeing it as an inherently bad thing, and the internet has made it possible for it to be on that scale, we need to use it for its purpose, which is to improve, which is what leaders and experts know, Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I think it's an interesting topic. Because I just see people beating themselves up for, weeks on end because their boss told them they needed to do something differently. And it's that's fortuitous. It's like a pot of gold, really, if you get that kind of feedback. And
especially if it makes your job easier or faster or just makes you feel better doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, awesome.
So there you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in,
Thank
Charlotte.
you for having
and I'm
me.
so sorry for silencing you at the
That's
beginning.
all right. We came back with a vengeance, didn't we?
Boom.
We'll see you next month.
Yes, indeed.